I was trying to decide how many times I'd seen this movie.
Yeah. This is the Salton Sea.
Thinking it's probably somewhere around 6.
I'd never even heard of it.
I haven't either.
5, 6, 7.
Stibbs texted me a couple weeks ago because we realized he would be in on Friday, and we gave him the movie club pick, and he said, "What's the what do you say? Can we do YouTube movies?"
Yeah.
And
I said the only place it was on was YouTube with ads.
And so I told everybody I signed up for the YouTube thing for a free month trial because I was like, I'm not trying to watch this with ads. The Salton Sea. Stibbs, tell us about this movie.
All right, spoiler alert. First of all,
wow,
obviously,
23-year-old movie. Stibbs.
If you haven't seen it, you have to. I legitimately think it's a good movie. Val Kilmer stars as Danny Parker and Tom Van Zant, I think his name was.
I don't think it's Tom Van Zant.
Tom Van Allen.
Tom Van Allen. Pretty close. Danny Parker is an alter ego he created to become a druggie informant for cops who had murdered his wife at the Salton Sea on a vacation years before. So Tom Van Allen, real Tom, becomes Danny Parker, puts together this whole plan to become an informant for these two crooked cops. And then hilarity ensues, and
hilarity.
It's a joke. He basically comes up with this plan to try to get back at these two people and avenge his wife's murder.
And we find out that it was the officers late in the movie, like what, in the back half of the movie?
Pretty cool twists involved. You've just assumed that he's just a druggie trying to do something. You don't know about his wife right away. You don't know. Yeah, there's weird things going on with him playing the trumpet.
Terrible tattoos.
Starts off with him discussing, like, who am I? Who am I? Like this whole, like you said, very early to mid-aughts feel of a movie.
Kent, this movie was so 2002, which is not a criticism, by the way. I loved how 2002 everything felt.
The transitions were hilarious.
The way it looked, the sheen of the movie.
It felt very Fight Club in moments. Just
3 years after it, and there is the kind of dual personality, if you will, of Fight Club in this.
But that's the main premise without getting too in-depth. Kent, what did you think? You had seen it, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, seeing it this time, I actually thought exactly what Josh was talking about, how it's a picture of its time. First off, the meth plot line, that was when meth was at its worst, right? So meth plot line, number one. Number two, it kind of, if you look at the movies that it swiped from, that ending with him playing and the beginning with him playing the trumpet comes right out of the end of the conversation. The Gene Hackman movie that Coppola did. It's literally the same scene except Gene Hackman's playing a saxophone. Okay.
Interesting.
So then it feels very much like a Tarantino movie, dialogue wise, and also in the way they mix up the time, because the explanation of the plot that you just gave doesn't come until, as you said, maybe it's an hour and 40-minute movie, I think, and it's at least an hour and 10 minutes into it before you know why he's doing all this stuff. So the plot, so it comes in a scrambled way. There's also a feel kind of like this movie Requiem for a Dream, this kind of druggy, hallucinatory kind of thing.
Gritty, gross, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those apartments were nasty.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of just thrown together, and it works, even though the plot, if you think about it, because of the twist, you don't get it that sense. But if it had played linearly, it's a very common plot. Right? It's not really not. It's a revenge plot, right? But the way they did it, it's pretty entertainingly done. So I can't find I think I've said this, anything before 2005 is on a different content management system that I can't immediately get to, but I can occasionally find the little blurbs that I would do with. And I gave this thing 3 stars out of 4, and I think I'd still put it right in that range.
Yeah, so
I would agree.
You realize when there's the flashback, or I guess he kind of explains, if you will, a bit of exposition, that he decided to choose this life. Like the life didn't choose him, so to speak, where because that's what you think, right? Oh, his wife died. He really just went off the deep end.
Fell into bad times and started doing drugs.
And so, I didn't rewatch any of the movie. I didn't rewind it, but then it made me wonder, like, so he was using drugs, though, right? Do we know that he was using drugs?
I believe there were moments where he was.
That's what I thought. Because I was like, wait a second, was he pretending to use these things?
I don't think he did it as much.
Yeah,
because he was trying to stay.
But in theory, he would have been very
track.
in control. Like when that scene where he has where he gets home and he takes the shower and he gets all dressed up. You're like, this is interesting. What's going on here? He takes off all the rings.
And it's a different name.
Yes, correct.
And you don't know any of this yet. You're like, oh, maybe he's a spy. Maybe like you don't really know what's going on.
Maybe he is just a deep undercover cop.
Yeah. And so you realize, oh no, he decided to do this on his own to get revenge for his a pretty senseless murder of his wife that is just pretty wild, because she didn't even see anyone's face when they did that.
Yeah,
pretty messed up.
There were some parts of that too that don't make a ton of sense. Like, why would they? I mean, it's like you said, it's very senseless. It's almost to the point. It's like, why would? I don't know that they would actually just kill her for no reason.
Yeah.
And then a buddy of mine pointed out, did he just get away with killing 2 cops at the end? Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's a movie and like it was revenge, but I know he was kind of working with the FBI, which is the twist within the twist, which is also, I thought that was kind of the coolest part, is he roped in the 2 cops that he was trying to get and made them
that's
think
the scene when he's
telling,
when we learn, right? That's the scene when he's talking to the FBI agents.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, that stretch where he's talking to the FBI, because
and he's supposed to meet the FBI agent at the hotel, and he switches because he wants to be the guy to do it on his own.
And I would say when that last scene unfolds and the kind of dialogue and the back and forth before you're wondering like who's going to die here. I mean, to go back to our previous question of why would they just kill his wife? I mean, that he is an objectively awful human being.
Yes.
The officer was.
Yes.
So I guess
They're
it does
bad.
make sense. And wow, he went out. Ouch. That was my reaction. I'm like, oh, that doesn't seem really good. What was in that? What type of drug was that?
I don't think it was heroin.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what he injected.
I'm not sure.
And then
I don't know.
It was liquid.
Ouch. Yeah, not great is what it was.
He might have just melted down. Something.
I
don't know how that works.
really like the structure of this movie. I think a lot of times with a lot of movies and shows, when they play kind of the plot in order, it feels a little spoon-fed, and then it's like, well, what's the point? I think a lot of people are like a little true crime pilled, where you see the thing happen and then it explains, like, you know who did it, you see what happened, and then it explains why. I really much like the path of following along and not knowing anything, because it made the twists that much better.
Yeah, he threw you into the story.
Right.
Like Kent said a few minutes ago, it would have just been kind of a paint by numbers, like revenge tale,
and then
which we've seen a million times.
I said, oh, when you saw the FBI tag, when you realized that guy you was talking to, who was supposed to be like a guy buying a bunch of drugs,
What a
was
great
actually
character
an FBI
that guy
agent.
was.
I love that guy.
B.D. Wong, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
Like,
Jurassic Park.
They were obviously making a joke about like a Southern guy who was not white.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. That was, it was funny, but it was like funny in like it threw you off kind of way.
Yes.
I liked the editing, especially like the character where he's buying the gun and the guy's just like explaining all the guns he's got, like without break, like taking no beat, just this, and then the very end when he's looking in the barrel.
In the barrel, the gun.
I love that.
Yeah.
Kind of corny, but like works.
Again, of its era.
Yeah.
That's
just cool.
That's when Kent said it's like Tarantino influences. That's exactly
that
what
part
it is.
a
Yes.
big one. Correct. And it's funny throughout.
And like the thing I think, Kent, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the big parts about Tarantino when he really came onto the scene that I think stood out to a lot of people is that he would have the bad guys, and the most famous scene, in my opinion, of this is when they're driving in the car in Pulp Fiction and they're talking about the Royale with cheese, where it's like, wow, look at the bad guys, but they're having normal conversations about burgers, and like the same thing happened in this movie. Now the Vincent D'Onofrio, right?
Yep.
His character, he was a wild man, but like even him and his crew, they were having kind of weird, goofy conversations
with a mongoose.
And that was one of the worst torture scenes.
Danny Trejo.
Oh my gosh!
I think that's one of the most creative torture devices I've seen used in a movie.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
It was pretty gross.
Yeah,
but like there's a point where Danny and his buddy Peter Sarsgaard, I never remember his name, Jimmy,
Mhm.
when they're driving in Jimmy's car and they're like
talking
kind
about
of talking.
JFK. That was
Yeah.
hilarious. And
Like,
I
it's
laughed.
it's
And it was great.
adorable.
I laughed when he goes, what happened? And then he goes, thanks for not laughing at me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I'm the jerk because I laughed at
I know.
you.
And then
I know. I like when he said, he's like, I've never seen Pooh Bear sleep. And Danny looks at me, he's like, you ever seen Queen Elizabeth sleep? He goes,
That one was
no, why? Is she a tweaker?
or that what I really like about that JFK question was that came on the heels of when they first meet Pooh Bear and his friends and they're reenacting JFK assassination with pigeons.
Mentioned a third shooter, by the way.
They
Did you
did.
notice
Oh,
that?
yeah.
He said, what did he say? Inevitable third
There's
shooter?
something about like we can't forget the obvious third shooter.
I thought that Pooh Bear was a really compelling, well-written character.
Yeah, he was a
loved
monster,
that
but
character.
yeah.
There were a
Also,
lot of good, really small, good written small characters.
my theory on Pooh Bear, by the way, the movie Cars, I think Mater's character is kind of based on Pooh Bear.
What the hell, Nick?
The way he talks, the way his facial expressions are, like I know he's a truck, but just
Correct.
He is.
it all reminded me of Mater.
You're
And-
doing so well in this segment, Nick.
That's a wild connection.
Kent, your thoughts?
I think you're wrong.
I
but-
thought one thing we haven't said. Not one word has been said about Val Kilmer.
This might be my favorite Val Kilmer movie.
he was really good.
Yeah.
This is one of his best performances because it's more nuanced, I guess you could say.
It's
There's
against
so-
type, right?
He's got to play two different characters at the
Yeah.
same
He's
time.
playing
yeah.
two different, and yeah, no, I think he was very good. And as we've noted, I think the Pooh Bear character works in part because it's Vincent D'Onofrio, who is a great actor, and he's really good at these odd kind of things, like even playing the bug guy in the
Men in Black.
Sugar Water.
Which
Right?
I did not realize that was him.
See, and I was going to say, so I knew that he was in the movie because I looked at the cast list before I started watching it. And I knew that the character's name was Pooh Bear. If I wouldn't have known that, I wouldn't have recognized it as Vincent.
Partly because he doesn't have a nose.
he
Secondly,
does not have a nose.
the highlighted blonde hair
Correct.
is like against
Again, of his
anything you've
era.
seen him.
That was
in.
really good makeup, by the way.
Oh yeah, he looked.
That was so well done.
Yeah.
Well,
Did that happen, by the way?
I don't know.
except for the crap tattoo on.
So
on,
I wanted to talk
on
about
his
this.
back.
Your notes
I
over
think the
there.
tattoos are actually kind of sick.
Oh, Nick, they were terrible.
Okay, I don't. The actual like what the tattoo is, I don't have an issue with. The issue I have with them is that they look incredibly fake.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
when they do tattoos now, like fake tattoos for people, they look incredibly real in
Mhm.
movies.
Yeah.
It looked like they painted this on him, like
It's
with
too,
actual
It's
paint.
too
It was
colorful.
way too bright.
It's gonna fade.
And so that like it never took me out, but it was something I always noticed. I was like, "Look, these look so bad. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, it looks so bad that there's no way that they just would have let this happen. So there's a part of me that either thinks it was bright on purpose to then make you afterwards realize
Oh,
he had
interesting.
just gotten them
Mhm.
because he wouldn't have had these
And he
if he
spends-
wasn't Danny Parker.
He spends hours, days inside all the
Correct.
time.
And or B, maybe that they're not that in the actual film they don't look like that, but that the director subconsciously wanted us to realize that that wasn't really
See, you're
him,
wondering if it was
If
a
it was
conscious
purposeful
decision
to be that bright and that obvious.
What do you think, Ken? Do you think that
I
there's a possibility of that?
don't think so, but I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
My theory is they did it and shot it and didn't realize how bright it would have been. You know what I'm saying? And
Because it's a
too late.
dark movie
Yeah.
otherwise. You
Yeah.
know, there's a lot of dark scenes in it.
So
There is.
yeah, the
I'm reaching for that theory, but
and I
a good
think
theory.
the other thing, and we mentioned but you got Danny Trejo,
Mhm.
really good actor. You got Peter Skarsgård as the
he's
we-
great in everything, and he's so adorable in this movie.
He
great
is.
thing he does.
His
Anthony
tattoo
Rapaglia was one of the corrupt cops. I mean, these are really
Meatloaf.
character. Deborah Kara Unger, who is the abused woman
The
from
blonde
next
girl. Yeah.
door. Yeah, she. I actually have met her, and she is extremely beautiful in person. By the way, just passing that along.
Just noting. And we had a Meatloaf cameo, Kent.
We did.
Of course, Mr. Loaf. And one of
Thank you for
this is absolutely true. The New York Times always honorariums people, Mr. This, Mr. That. For one of the times that they wrote about Meatloaf early on, he became Mr. Loaf.
I
Awesome.
love that.
So why did you pick this movie, Stibbs?
I picked this movie. I saw this for the first time probably in 2008, 8 probably. So even at that point was 5-6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had never heard of it then, and it
Yeah.
would have just been in theaters in the last 5 years.
Well.
And I was just I liked it a lot. It was a movie that I felt like would have been on my radar at the time. I liked these types of movies. I loved Val Kilmer, and it was amazing that it had slipped through the cracks for me somehow. And so I was surprised at how good it was when I saw it, because I assumed that if I didn't hear about it, it was probably bad and went out of theaters right away. And then the more I would talk to people about it, nobody has ever heard of this movie.
I literally had never heard of it.
No one has
before.
ever heard of this movie.
I
It's
said
not
it-
because it's bad. It's not because
It just slipped through
it's
the cracks.
weird. I think it is. It's not life-changing. It's not incredible. There's corny parts. The transitions can be a little corny at times.
Sure. It's a
Don't
solid
hate 'em.
movie.
But it's a good written mystery early aughts movie. And I pick it because I tell friends
You want
who are
people
like
to see it?
people I know who are into movies, I ask about it, and almost none of them have seen it. And I just always want to hear their feedback about it.
Why
I'm
do you
intrigued.
think it slipped through the cracks, Kent?
When it was released, it kind of fell in amongst a whole bunch of similar movies. So one of them isn't going to hit. I mean, that's just the way
Sure.
it works.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, I'd
I
be interested to go back and see what was released around that, actually
I
see
think the
that
other
release
thing
date.
is movies like this that slide through sometimes get picked up as like cult movies or whatever
Yep.
you want to call them, post. And where did we find this? On
YouTube.
YouTube, right? It's not on. I'm surprised it's not on HBO Max or whatever.
It
they're
was
calling-
on something not long ago.
It was what say?
It was on something not horribly long ago.
Probably
I
must.
remember
I would guess HBO Max because it's
Yeah.
a Warner Brothers picture, but it never generated that. And I think it's because not enough people even knew about it after the first release because it lost a
A lot of money. Yeah.
of money. You know, the other thing that I wanted to I was going to add but had forgotten. This is drug movie number 2 of 3 for Val Kilmer.
Wow.
First, The Doors.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
the porn movie.
What's that?
The porn movie.
Correct. Wonderland.
Wonderland. That movie's wild.
I've never seen that one.
What's that guy's name, Kent?
He plays John Holmes.
John Holmes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that guy. Oh,
Yeah.
that
He
guy.
plays
Was,
that whole.
Is the house where he allegedly murdered people.
I was gonna say that guy was a bad guy.
Wonderland's wild. I have that on DVD if you ever want to watch
Wow.
it. It's in like a Redbox case that I bought at like Hollywood
Wow.
Video when it was going out at like
Incredible.
$3.
Kent, a
Yeah.
listener lent me because we were talking about it the other day.
Oh, I didn't know it looked like that.
The extended edition of Midsommar. So I'm
Wow.
gonna watch that. I haven't seen this movie in like 6 years. He
Oh,
gave me
my.
the blue.
I've
It's like
never seen it.
it's a great movie.
I need to watch it.
Speaking of weird, what was that?
Another 20 minutes in it? Or
Yeah, it's like
something?
3 hours long.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I
When
gotta
you
watch that
put
before
it in
football
it,
season.
It's like it was already long.
It's a
Yeah,
long
that's what
movie.
Stib said earlier. By the way, I have the answer. You guys were saying, okay, why? What happened around this movie? Was there other stuff that came out around it? So this came out on April 26th, 2002. Okay, so earlier in the month, National Lampoon's Van Wilder came out,
Oh.
and then the week before this movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding came out, and that was like a cultural
Yeah.
touchstone. Jason X came out on the same day, but most importantly, the next week, Spider-Man came out. So it just got completely lost
Yeah.
amongst all those
It got
movies.
blown out of the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Spider-Man
and then Star
will do
Wars
that.
Episode 2, Attack of the Clones came out in May as well. So I mean, at that point, it probably just was completely see you later.
Oh, it was long gone from theater.
Plus, it's like 8 months after 9/11.
It's 8 months after 9/11. Great points, Tips. I mean, this is I imagine that they were probably finishing up production, after 9/11. But I mean, it really does kind of have a post 9/11 vibe to
Yeah,
it. Though
it does.
maybe I'm just projecting a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if too, these movies aren't always fun to watch.
it's
Like you
not
said, it's grimy. It makes you feel. It's not
a
quite.
gross looking movie.
It's not quite on the level of like Kids. I don't know if you've ever seen Kids. Kent, if you've seen Kids, I don't ever want to. I don't ever want to watch that movie again.
Yeah. Oh no, do you know about kids?
Come on, Stibbs, choose kids.
No.
Stibbs is guys running.
It's wild.
Is
It
it?
just makes you feel so gross.
And,
And it's what it's supposed to do. It does
Yeah.
an incredible job.
I said it earlier, but the sets in this movie are just nasty. Like
So-
the apartment, like the wall and everything. It's just, it kind of reminded me a little bit of some of the rooms in Seven where they would go and it's like, this is a gross
or even Fight Club,
environment.
like you said, and
Or
that
even in
house that
Fight
they
Club.
were in, like
Yeah.
it was just disgusting.
Like where the
Or-
walls
or-
just paint.
But I
peeling.
wonder if it could not be in like mainstream, like totally in mainstream with people. Like it's not a fun.
It's not a family
Like there's not a
affair.
bunch of moms who are gonna go. You guys got to see this Val Kilmer movie.
I just read the plot of Kids.
And that's
Holy
also
crap.
where it's comparable with Requiem for a Dream.
Yes, yeah, another
Both
movie that
the
turns my
look
stomach.
and that feel, that you're talking
Soccer
about.
moms aren't dropping their kids off and then hightailing into the movie
Yeah,
theater. Is that
no.
what you're saying, Stibbs?
No,
Let's get together. Sweaty moms of Omaha. We're watching the Salton Sea and kids. Oh.